As if you needed really anything else to show why Nadine Dorries is just an absolute lunatic when it comes to being an MP, and we should really question how on earth not only did she get there, but we know why Boris Johnson chose her. It was because, well, he saw her as a loyal lackey, someone who would do what they were told, and ultimately someone who did not have, shall we say, any, well, good ability to absolutely be able to outshine Boris. And that's how Boris Johnson chose most of his cabinet, because Boris Johnson did not want anyone who would challenge him or at least make him look bad. But still, Nadine Dorries hasn't got the message. He's just not that into you. You see, one of the things that we know full well about Boris Johnson is that he demands loyalty, but will never, ever, and has never, ever shown any loyalty in return to, well, anyone who has been loyal to him. Remember, over the past really few years, Nadine Dorries has been the ultimate Boris Johnson supporter. When Johnson was in trouble, she would go round rallying MPs, even if you remember, kicked out of a WhatsApp chat when other Tory MPs were talking about giving Boris the boot. And she was insisting that they show loyalty to Boris for everything that he had done. And he won us that massive majority. And still today, preaches the gospel of Boris Johnson. But Boris Johnson doesn't really seem to be showing, shall we say, any loyalty back, or at least thanks for the loyalty that Nadine Dorries has shown to him over that period. And today, as you may remember, she said she was going to go. She was going to resign as an MP. So far, I'd like to remind you, still hasn't done it yet. To which has now responded from Flitwick Town Council, one of in her local constituency, that has basically said, hey, you said you were going to resign as an MP, so please go, because, you know, you're sort of damaging democracy and you're sort of costing us potentially quite a lot of money, because we have to prepare for a by-election, which we could have had by now, but we've got to still keep on preparing and spending money for a by-election that we don't know when's going to happen, because you said you're going to go, but you haven't gone yet. So there's now an interesting case of Nadine Dorries versus our local council. And it was reported this morning that Nadine Dorries is going to take Flitwick Town Council and report them to the Electoral Affairs Commission, because she thinks that they've done her a disservice. Now, I don't know what the Electoral Commission's response is to this, but to be honest, this seems to be a pretty fair letter. Writing to a MP saying, hey, you said you were going to resign, you haven't resigned yet, you sort of really should resign, you know? So, I suppose this can be added to the many videos that are now out there about Nadine Dorries saying, for God's sakes, go. In the name of God, go. So on to see what Flitwick Town Council actually wrote to Nadine Dorries. But before we do go diving into this letter, please do remember to click on the like and share button. And of course, down below, there are links to the Patreon page, the one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can buy me coffee, and etc., all that stuff down below where you can help support the channel. So let's see what Flitwick Town Council had to say to Nadine Dorries. So, dear Mrs. Dorries, RE, action required. No representation for Mid Bedfordshire. Following a discussion at the recent meeting of Flitwick Town Council on Thursday, the 18th of July, this would be actually, we need to find the minutes. if this was discussed in their town council, oh boy, we need to find the minutes that were discussed in this town council meeting about this. Let's see if I'm going to see if I can send an email to the town council, see if we can get those. But the recent meeting of the Flitwick Town Council on the 18th of July, I have been asked to write to you formally to raise the council's concerns and frustration at the continuing lack of representation for the people of Mid Bedfordshire in Westminster. You have previously announced your intention to stand down as an MP at the next election. But since then, you announced that you were standing down as an MP with immediate effect on the 9th of June in 2023. Since then, you have not resigned. The last time you spoke in the Commons was on the 7th of June 2022, and you have not maintained a constituency office for a considerable time. And it is widely understood that you have not held a surgery in Flitwick since March of 2020. So Nadine Dorries just really going to show she is just a bad MP all over. Oh, she's just an absolutely awful. So she haven't even really provided and fulfilling her job as an MP by not providing a surgery. I'm surprised they haven't called her to go before this. So rather than representing constituents, the council is concerned that your focus appears to have been firmly on your television show, an upcoming book, and the political maneuvers to embarrass the government for not appointing you to the House of Lords. Councillors have noticed, councillors have noted that your behaviour was widely reported in the press is not in line with the 7 principles of public life set out by Lord Nolan in 1995. With an estimated population of over 13,800 people, Flitwick represents the largest concentration of voters in the Mid Bedfordshire constituency. And Flitwick Town Council has a long history of operating on a non-political bias, with a strong ethos that our council must represent the views and needs of our residents, regardless of party politics. Our residents desperately need an effective representation now, and Flitwick Town Council calls on you to immediately vacate your seat and allow a by-election. Yeah, I'm going to be sending an email to Flitwick Town Council to see if we can get those meeting minutes. Because, oh boy, that sounds like that might be quite interesting to see what they had to say. If we do get a response and we do get those meeting minutes, then yeah, we'll see if we can gain access to those, because those seem to be very, very interesting to see what they, they had to say in that discussion. We'll see what happens. I'll let you know. And of course, if we do get them, we will almost certainly be doing a video on what Flitwick Town Council had to say in that particular meeting. Because if that particular meeting has prompted them to send this letter saying, hey, can you resign already, please? That's particularly interesting. We'll see what happens. I don't know if they will have them up on their website. I'm not entirely sure. Like I say, councils vary sometimes, but we'll see. We'll have a look, see if we can find them and report back, see what you've got to say about this. But I think, by the sounds of it, that will be an interesting meeting minute notes to probably look over. But will Nadine Dorries resign? Who knows? When is she going to resign? Only Nadine Dorries can really say that. Will this prompt her to finally resign? Who knows? Many people have continued to speculate that she's planning one final last curtain call, that she's going to get up in the Commons and dish the dirt. Of course, there is still this speculation that she might resign to try and time it at the exact same time that, you know, Rishi Sunak has lost in the by-election when he's doing his grand speech at the Conservative Party conference. I don't know if that's what she's planning. She's got a book coming out called The Plot, something which, as we've said before, she has lost a long time ago. But this is going to be about the story to unseat Boris Johnson, which will be, I'm sure, riveting reading for people like me. But of course, as always, we'll keep you up to date on what happens on this particular situation. But we'll see what happens. And of course, I'll let you know if we do get those meeting minutes and if they are interesting. So, as always, we'll see you all next time.